Hello, everyone. Welcome to Everything Football. Best forwards to have in the game. Now, obviously, five defenders, five midfielders, but the forwards, we can only pick three. It's slightly easier, I'd say, but again, since we are able to only pick three, it also becomes a bit harder to have everyone we want to have in the team. Literally, I have like 20 strikers in my head that I want to have, but we can only have three, unfortunately. So you're going. I've picked three that we should be going for. There's obviously others you can go different if you support that team, or if you think this other player is not going to do well against this team, absolutely no problem. Or if you want a player to like help you for all 6 match days, literally up to you. But I've picked the three that I think. And also, if you watch until the end, I have a couple of others I'll mention in between. But that is only a reward for the ones who are watching until the end. Let's say it like this: like go through the carrots and then in the middle get the chocolate, if you watch the video. So let's go through it. Let's start with the first one. This one is not going to come as a surprise. Like, you cannot do a best forwards video without this guy. Do we even have to mention him? Like, I think this is the fourth video I'm talking about with Erling Haaland on there, but you just have to have him in the team. Like, he's currently selected by 72%. That could easily rise to 75 or 80% by the time we get to the deadline. He had 13 goal contributions last season. He's got a couple of hat tricks. Like, he was absolutely smashing it last season. Obviously, he takes the penalties, and this season he already has 7 goal contributions already. 7 goal contributions. He's already scored a hat trick this season in the first 4 games of the Premier League. He went to the international break. He didn't start the first game, but in the second game, I think it was against Georgia, he played and he scored as usual. So he kept his form going in international team as well. For Norway, he's always absolutely incredible. Now, if that is not enough about Haaland, like even if Haaland had Barcelona and Real Madrid and all those teams in the same group, like I'd still potentially go for Haaland. Like, he always scores. Like last season, I saw him scoring against Arsenal, against Man United, against which other team? I think he scored against Tottenham as well. Like, he just scores against every team. And in the Champions League, he scored against the likes of Leipzig and all those guys. So he usually scores. I think he scored against Bayern Munich as well. So he doesn't care which team he's playing against. He's probably going to score. So Erling Haaland is my first pick in this one. And on top of that, the group. Red Star Belgrade, Young Boys, and Leipzig. I think last season he scored a hat-trick against Leipzig. This season he's already scored a hat-trick as well, I think, against Fulham. I'm pretty sure he's also going to score a hat this season. Like, you see that group, I can easily see him, even if he plays 4 or 5 games only, not all 6 games, I can see him getting more than 10 goals in that group. And one game is going to get 3 goals and another one is going to get 2. So make sure to have him in that week, and hopefully you will captain him because Erling Haaland is absolutely incredible. 11.5. Like, there's a reason why he's selected by 72% in the Champions League fantasy and like 80% or something more than that in the FPLs, because he's absolutely incredible. So Erling Haaland is my first pick, the obvious pick that you already know about. Now let's go to the others that are maybe not so obvious. The second one is he's still watching, by the way. If you're still watching, I'm going to give you another option that is not on the list. I might go for. His name is Gonzalo Ramos. Like, I think he's selected by only 1%. He was signed from Benfica to PSG, plays for PSG, and I think he's going to actually smash it. He smashed it in the Champions League last season. I think he can do the same thing this season. So Gonzalo Ramos, if you want a proper differential, selected by 1% this season. Number 2, Julian Alvarez, but that's just between me and you, by the way. Don't tell the ones who are not watching. Julian Alvarez is the second option, the second player on the list. He started all 4 league games. He scored 2 goals and already has 3 assists as well in the Premier League. I mean, Haaland has 7 goal contributions. Alvarez has 5, so not bad at all for a player who's 4.5 million cheaper. Not bad at all. Now, he's getting more minutes. The reason he started all 4 games and he's playing a lot of minutes, I mean, Mahrez was sold. Grealish is currently injured. De Bruyne is currently injured, which means like Bernardo Silva will play in midfield and Alvarez gets a spot like up front next to Haaland. So that bodes well for him and anyone who's going to own Julian Alvarez. Now, almost everyone will have Erling Haaland. So even if he scores, you don't really get a huge benefit. You get a benefit of, I mean, not having him. Definitely don't consider going without Haaland. So because if you don't have him and he scores a hat trick, you're going to be in big trouble. But when you have him, which all of us should, even if he scores 2 or 3 goals, doesn't really make a difference. You just basically stay on floor with everyone else. You don't fall behind, but you don't really go forward as well. But if you have a second player from Man City, Julian Alvarez, I think that can help you gain on the other managers. He's also a budget option. He's only going to cost you 7 million. Whether he starts or gets subbed on, the good thing with the Champions League fantasy, if he starts, great. If he gets subbed off early and he only gets you like one assist and you don't feel happy with that, and if he plays on the Tuesday, you can always take them off. And even if he comes off the bench, like that group that they have with Red Star Belgrade and Young Boys and Leipzig, those are teams that Alvarez can come on even for 20, 25 minutes and he can still score in that game. So Julian Alvarez is my second pick. 2-man Steve forwards. I'm insane. I'm picking 2-man Steve forwards, but I think for that group you have to have at least 3-man Steve players, and the ones that are maybe guaranteed to start: Haaland and the goalkeeper. The defense, you just don't know who's going to start. Midfield wise, maybe Rodri as well, but Alvarez I think is a good option in terms of forward player. So that is my pick. You're still watching? I think Gabriel Jesus could also be a good pick as an Arsenal fan. I think he's definitely going to start against PSV. So if you want to go for an Arsenal player, he's also selected by only 3%. You can go for him. My third option is Robert Lewandowski. Like last season, I made a mistake. Like Lewandowski, however you want to say it. Last season, he was playing against Victoria Pilsen in the first game. I think that was the game. Actually, that's pictures from that game, if I'm not wrong. I didn't go for him. I went for Benzema instead. I think Benzema got subbed off. I think they're playing against Celtic or something last season in the first game, Real Madrid. He got subbed off with an injury. I didn't go for Lewandowski. Lewandowski scored a hat-trick, and I knew that fixture was going to be easy for him, but I decided to go with the one that I knew you have to have like a Real Madrid player, so I went for Benzema. I suffered from match day one. Like I didn't have Lewandowski, and he scored a hat-trick against Pilsen. I think a hat-trick and an assist as well. So I pretty much suffered because many people had him captained for that game. This season, I don't want to make that mistake. And I think that first game against Antwerp and the rest of the group as well, I think is very, very good. So so far this season, Barcelona are doing great. Last season in the Champions League, Lewandowski scored 5 goals in 6 matches. Obviously, Barcelona got eliminated early, but they still scored like more than 10 goals in those 6 games. So that is fine. Now, he also picked up a Player of the Match award, and is currently selected by only 14%. Now, obviously, it's very expensive. You can't really go for, Haaland and then go for all the expensive players pretty much. You go for Haaland, you go for Mbappe, you go for this one and that one. If you want defensively, you want Cavallal and Alphonso Davies. You can't also go for Lewandowski unless you sacrifice a couple of positions for him because it's very expensive. But if you go for him and he plays against Antwerp in the first day and Porto, Shakhtar, he can get a huge reward. So that is why I've included him in this video. I think he's going to do pretty well, especially in the first game against Antwerp. I can easily see him scoring at least a brace or a goal and assist. However, he's going to definitely return. So Lewandowski is my third pick on this video. And then on top of that as well, during the international break, I watched Poland's last game. I think he scored from the penalty spot and then scored a couple of minutes later. Now, another player who did very well in the international break, that is Robert Lewandowski. So I've included him in this video. I think that is a good group for them. And Porto and Shakhtar, I don't see a reason why they can't score against FC Porto. Shakhtar are playing their home games, I think, in Germany. They're not playing it, obviously, in Ukraine for obvious reasons. So I don't know how much that is going to affect them or benefit the likes of Lewandowski and Barcelona. So I think he's a good third pick. So Haaland, Alvarez, and Lewandowski are my picks on this video. Let me know which one you're going to be going for from that list. I've already done videos on midfielders, so click on the screen, on the video on screen, to check out the midfielders. Or if you want to take a look at a video on the defenders, click on the other video on screen right now. Thank you for watching. I'll catch up with you guys on the next one.